Liverpool fans, buckle up. Huge transfer developments are unfolding at Anfield. From the Jeff Bezos investment links to a major Bradley Barcola twist and Cody Gakpo's uncertain future. Let's get straight into the latest. Jeff Bezos backed to help Liverpool sign next Kylian Mbappe with his $278 billion. Liverpool's prospective new investment link with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has sparked fresh discussion about what his vast personal wealth could mean for the club's transfer ambitions, with football finance experts suggesting his involvement could ultimately help Liverpool retain and attract the game's biggest superstars. Reports of a consortium, including Bezos, exploring a stake in Liverpool have prompted analysts to weigh in on how his fortune, one of the largest in the world, might reshape the club's approach to elite recruitment in the years ahead. Speaking on the potential implications of such a deal, one football finance professor explained that Liverpool have historically been capable of spending significant sums when they identify the right target, but that signing the true global superstars of the sport requires enormous outlays across transfer fees, wages, bonuses and image rights packages, all while competing against financial heavyweights such as Real Madrid, Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. The expert noted that Bezos would not personally be the one paying player wages directly, but suggested that if his involvement helps Liverpool substantially grow their commercial revenues, then the kind of lucrative contracts needed to land the sports elite become far easier to sustain within football's financial fair play rules. The broader ambition attributed to Bezos, according to the same analysis, is not necessarily to fund transfers directly, but to build Liverpool into a commercially powerful enough institution that when a player of the caliber of Kylian Mbappe or Jude Bellingham becomes available in the future, the club would never be priced out of the conversation purely on financial grounds. The suggestion is that a stronger commercial engine would also support smarter dealings in the transfer market more broadly, helping Liverpool compete effectively and build the kind of club status that makes it an attractive destination for the sport's top talents in its own right, rather than relying on financial firepower alone. The prospect of new investment has not gone unnoticed by supporters. Liverpool's supporters union, Spirit of Shankly, has reportedly reached out to the club seeking clarity on several aspects of the prospective investment being explored by the consortium associated with Bezos, reflecting the scale of interest and scrutiny surrounding any potential change in the club's ownership structure. While Fenway Sports Group has overseen a period of major success at Anfield, including Premier League and Champions League triumphs, speculation about outside investment has intensified amid the financial arms race at the top of European football, where state-backed and billionaire-owned rivals continue to reshape the market for elite young talent. For now, the Bezos links remain speculative and no formal deal or takeover has been confirmed. But the framing from those close to the discussion is clear. This is being pitched less as a vehicle for direct Galacticos-style spending and more as a long-term project to future-proof Liverpool's ability to compete for the next generation of superstar footballers without being priced out by the financial muscle of their closest rivals. Darwin Núñez transfer agreement reached to bring end to Saudi nightmare. Darwin Núñez appears close to ending a turbulent spell in Saudi Arabia, with reports indicating the former Liverpool striker has reached an agreement to leave Al Hilal after a stint in Riyadh that soured dramatically following a squad registration decision by the club's hierarchy. Núñez joined Al Hilal from Liverpool last August for an initial fee in the region of £46 million, but his time in Saudi Arabia quickly turned difficult after a ruthless squad decision froze him out of contention. Despite reportedly earning around £400,000 a week, more than double his previous salary at Anfield, Núñez is said to be prioritizing regular football over financial reward after finding himself effectively sidelined for the second half of the season. He was deregistered from Al Hilal's domestic squad earlier in the year following the arrival of Karim Benzema and has not featured in a league match for the Saudi Giants since February, a stretch of inactivity that has fueled talk of an imminent exit. Some reports have gone further, suggesting Al Hilal have effectively agreed to release him from his contract altogether, allowing the Uruguayan the freedom to choose his next destination without a transfer fee attached. Núñez's difficult year extended to the international stage as well, with Uruguay crashing out of their World Cup campaign at the group stage, and the striker failing to register a goal across his 3 appearances for La Celeste. That lack of match sharpness has done little to dampen transfer interest, however, with a range of destinations floated in recent months. Chelsea and Newcastle United have both been credited with monitoring his situation, given the possibility of a free transfer, while other reports have linked him with a move to Turkey, potentially reuniting him with former Liverpool teammate Mohamed Salah at Besiktas. A more sentimental strand of speculation has even floated a possible return to Anfield itself, with one Uruguayan journalist claiming a broad agreement over a Liverpool return was already in place, though this has not been corroborated by reporting closer to the club. Núñez originally arrived at Liverpool from Benfica in the summer of 2022 for an initial fee of around £64 million, going on to score 40 goals in 143 appearances, though he only started 8 Premier League games during the club's title-winning campaign the following season. His underlying numbers during his Anfield career reflected the inconsistency that defined his spell. He significantly underperformed his expected goals total, one of the worst records among Premier League forwards over a 3-year period, with a shot conversion rate that ranked outside the division's top 90. Despite the statistical struggles, Núñez remained a popular figure with supporters, thanks to his work rate and personality. And a recent Liverpool social media post marking the anniversary of his arrival at the club drew a wave of nostalgic comments referencing the fresh transfer speculation. Whatever his next move, Núñez's departure from Al Hilal looks close to being finalized, bringing an early end to a Saudi adventure that never got going after his registration was blocked, and opening the door to a return to European football this summer. Steven Gerrard played secret role in Virgil van Dijk picking Liverpool over Man City. A newly revealed conversation between Steven Gerrard and Virgil van Dijk has shed fresh light on just how influential the Liverpool legend was in persuading the Dutch defender to snub Manchester City and complete a then-club record move to Anfield back in January 2018. The details emerged as part of Captains, a new Liverpool FC Originals production, bringing together Gerrard, Van Dijk and Graham Souness for a joint conversation reflecting on the club's history of leadership, with the pair recalling the private phone call that took place amid one of the most contested transfer sagas of that era. In late 2017, with Southampton's prize centre-back deliberating over a career-defining decision as clubs competed for his signature, Van Dijk placed an important call to Gerrard, a move that would ultimately help steer him toward Merseyside rather than the Etihad. Gerrard explained that he already knew Van Dijk's agent well and recalled that the choice at the time essentially came down to Manchester City or Liverpool. What made the exchange notable was Van Dijk's own approach to it. Rather than seeking a hard sell, the defender wanted an honest, first-hand account of what the club represented before making his call. Van Dijk told Gerrard he hadn't phoned to be pushed one way or the other, since he already suspected which direction Gerrard would lean, but simply wanted to hear a little more about Liverpool from someone who knew the club intimately. Gerrard's response was characteristically direct. He told Van Dijk that if the decision came down to what the two clubs stood for and represented, then he was essentially wasting his time thinking it over, because deep down, he already knew the answer. Gerrard has since described it as a fascinating exchange, and one he was delighted resulted in Van Dijk ultimately choosing Liverpool. The outcome of that call reshaped Liverpool's modern history. Van Dijk completed his switch from Southampton on New Year's Day 2018, in a deal that, at the time, was a club record fee, and he has gone on to make his mark indelibly on the club since, amassing 8 major honours, including 2 Premier League titles and a Champions League triumph, while racking up 374 appearances and 36 goals, and serving as Liverpool's permanent captain since 2023. His impact was near instant on the pitch too, with the defender widely credited with stabilising a previously shaky Liverpool back line and helping the side reach the Champions League final within months of his arrival, before going on to be named PFA Player of the Year within 18 months of signing. The revelation adds further weight to the well-documented role Liverpool's dressing room culture and its former captains played in convincing top targets to choose Anfield over financially stronger rivals, with similar stories previously emerging about Jordan Henderson's influence in the same transfer saga. It also comes at a poignant moment for Van Dijk's Liverpool legacy, with the defender turning 35 this year, while remaining the club's defensive cornerstone and continuing to captain the side through a new era under Andoni Iraola. Andoni Iraola plan for Rio Ngumoha if Liverpool completes Bradley Barcola transfer. Andoni Iraola appears to be actively shaping his tactical blueprint around the possibility of landing Bradley Barcola from Paris Saint-Germain, using Liverpool's pre-season fixtures to test how a teenage breakout star and a marquee new signing could realistically coexist in the same attack, rather than compete for a single starting berth. In Liverpool's second pre-season match against Wrexham at Yankee Stadium in New York, Iraola made what looked like a subtle change, swapping the positions of Rio Ngumoha and Kieran Morrison when the pair came on as substitutes. Whereas Ngumoha had lined up exclusively on the left against Sunderland the previous weekend, just as he had done throughout the previous campaign under former coach Arne Slot, he was shifted to the right flank against Wrexham, with Morrison occupying the left in his place. The switch was widely interpreted as a deliberate signal that the Spanish coach is thinking ahead to the club's incoming transfer business. Coming on the same day, reports emerged that Liverpool were preparing an initial bid of around £100 million for Barcola, who played almost exclusively on the left for PSG last season. The rationale became clearer when Iraola addressed the change directly with reporters. The head coach explained that being able to play comfortably on both flanks is a valuable skill because it makes a winger less predictable, noting that even players with a clear preferred side might only feature there roughly 70% of the time, since specific matchups or tactical openings on the opposite flank can demand versatility. He added that developing that adaptability ultimately benefits a player by giving them more minutes on the pitch. Ngumoha wasted little time in reinforcing his case for regular involvement, regardless of Barcola's arrival. The 17-year-old was a standout performer in that same Wrexham match, coming off the bench to score the winning goal in a deflected effort during his time on the right side of attack, extending the team's unbeaten pre-season record. Given that Barcola is another left-sided forward, the two had appeared destined to compete directly for the same role. But Ngumoha's promising cameo out wide on the right suggests he and the Frenchman could instead be deployed together, flanking a central striker on opposite sides. Elsewhere, reporting suggests the Finnish tactical picture could be even more fluid than a simple left-right split. Because Barcola has meaningful experience playing on the right for both Lyon and PSG, despite being used primarily on the left by Iraola, there is an expectation the pair could rotate flanks with Ngumoha throughout matches rather than settling into fixed sides. Barcola managed 13 goals and 7 assists in 49 appearances last season. And while he isn't viewed as a direct like-for-like replacement for Mohamed Salah, he is expected to add significant firepower to a Liverpool attack that has already invested in width through the addition of Victor Munoz, alongside existing options Cody Gakpo and Federico Chiesa. Not everyone is convinced Liverpool should pursue Barcola at all, given the price tag being discussed. Reports have suggested PSG could demand a fee in the region of €130 million, and some former players have argued the money would be better spent developing Ngumoha rather than adding another left-sided forward to a suddenly crowded position battle. For now, though, Iraola's team selections suggest he is planning for a scenario in which both players start together, rather than one blocking the other's path to regular football. Liverpool transfer rumours. Iliman Ndiaye interest raises more questions than answers. Liverpool's reported pursuit of Everton winger Iliman Ndiaye has emerged as one of the more curious subplots of the closing weeks of the summer transfer window, with the prospect of a rare cross-Merseyside deal raising as many questions about the club's strategy as it answers about their wing options heading into the new season. According to transfer insider Mark Bruce, Liverpool hold a genuine interest in the 26-year-old, with direct talks having taken place between the club and Ndiaye's camp over a potential move across Stanley Park, alongside similar contact from Manchester United and Arsenal. One source close to the situation indicated Everton are seeking around £75 million for their forward, a figure described as too high, though the same source suggested Ndiaye is genuinely keen to secure a move this summer. Crucially, Ndiaye has already ruled out an approach from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia, choosing instead to prioritize remaining in Europe's top flight. The context behind the links is where much of the intrigue lies. Liverpool's primary attacking target remains PSG's Bradley Barcola, who has reportedly informed the French club he does not intend to extend his contract beyond 2028 and has expressed a strong desire to move to Merseyside, with personal terms not expected to be an obstacle. The stumbling block instead is the gap between the two clubs' valuations, with PSG holding out for a fee approaching £145 million, while Liverpool have valued the winger closer to £100 million. It's against that backdrop of a stalling negotiation that the Njai links have surfaced, prompting speculation over Liverpool's true motives. One report suggested Liverpool's interest in Njai, while genuine, is notable given how rare it is for the Reds to do business with their Merseyside rivals, raising the possibility that it reflects some anxiety about getting the Barcola deal over the line, or alternatively, that the approach is designed to apply pressure on PSG to lower their asking price for a player who reportedly wants to leave anyway. The same report conceded the true motivation behind the interest is difficult to confirm with certainty, but noted that Liverpool are among the clubs to have engaged in direct dialogue with those around Njai, leaving open the possibility of a more concrete move developing. Financially, opinions on Njai's value have varied significantly depending on the source. While earlier suggestions put a more realistic price closer to £75 million, a subsequent report indicated it could cost as much as £100 million to prize him away from Goodison Park, with Liverpool and Manchester United cast as his most serious suitors. Njai has impressed since arriving in the Premier League, contributing 20 goal involvements across 73 appearances for Everton, form that has been enough to draw admiring glances from three of the traditional Big Six clubs simultaneously. Fabrizio Romano has also confirmed the player's stance on Saudi Arabia, with the forward said to have made clear he wants to continue testing himself in the Premier League rather than cash in on a lucrative Gulf move. Not everyone is convinced a move for Njai represents good business for Liverpool, regardless of the fee. One assessment argued that while Njai is Premier League tested and among the better dribblers in Europe, having managed 6 goals and 3 assists last season and 11 goals the campaign before, he is not clearly worth a fee in the £75 million region and might ultimately suit Arsenal or Manchester United better than Liverpool. With the transfer window's closing weeks ticking away, the Njai saga looks set to remain a live storyline, regardless of how Liverpool's primary pursuit of Barcola resolves, whether as a genuine contingency plan, a pressure tactic, or simply provocative transfer noise. Financially, opinions on Njai's value have varied significantly depending on the source. While earlier suggestions put a more realistic price closer to £75 million, a subsequent report indicated it could cost as much as £100 million to prize him away from Goodison Park, with Liverpool and Manchester United cast as his most serious suitors. Njai has impressed since arriving in the Premier League, contributing 20 goal involvements across 73 appearances for Everton, form that has been enough to draw admiring glances from three of the traditional Big Six clubs simultaneously. Fabrizio Romano has also confirmed the player's stance on Saudi Arabia, with the forward said to have made clear he wants to continue testing himself in the Premier League rather than cash in on a lucrative Gulf move. Not everyone is convinced a move for Njai represents good business for Liverpool, regardless of the fee. One assessment argued that while Njai is Premier League tested and among the better dribblers in Europe, having managed 6 goals and 3 assists last season and 11 goals the campaign before, he is not clearly worth a fee in the £75 million region and might ultimately suit Arsenal or Manchester United better than Liverpool. With the transfer window's closing weeks ticking away, the Njai saga looks set to remain a live storyline, regardless of how Liverpool's primary pursuit of Barcola resolves, whether as a genuine contingency plan, a pressure tactic, or simply provocative transfer noise. Interest from elsewhere in the Premier League has already begun to materialise. Tottenham Hotspur have emerged as suitors for Gakpo, with TalkSport suggesting Liverpool would likely require in the region of $94 million to sanction his departure, though the Netherlands international still has 4 years remaining on his existing contract. A separate report indicated the figure being floated to Spurs may be somewhat lower. According to Football Insider, Tottenham have been informed that an offer in the region of £70 million could be enough to convince Liverpool to part ways with the winger, though the report stressed that Iraola views Gakpo as an important part of his squad and that Liverpool would likely want to sign a replacement winger before even entertaining his exit. Gakpo joined Liverpool from PSV Eindhoven in January 2023 and has gone on to make 180 appearances for the club, scoring 50 goals in total, though his 2025-26 campaign fell below his usual standards as he managed just 9 goals across the season. Some pundits have argued that letting Gakpo go could actually strengthen Liverpool's hand in the market. One assessment suggested that if Tottenham could be coaxed into an offer anywhere near £100 million for Gakpo, it would give Liverpool little excuse not to go all in on prizing Barcola away from PSG, with the Reds already indicating a willingness to pay in excess of £86 million for the Frenchman. Ultimately, much of Gakpo's immediate future appears to be contingent on how Liverpool's broader business unfolds, with reports suggesting growing optimism that a Barcola deal can be reached, and Liverpool's asking price for Gakpo now firmly set in the region of £72 million. The Dutchman's likely status as a third-choice option on the left flank behind both Barcola and Moga makes his departure this summer look increasingly plausible, contract length notwithstanding. And that's the latest from Anfield. Which story do you think is the biggest? Barcola, Gakpo, Bezos, or Nunez? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, and subscribe to Anfield Signal for more Liverpool news. See you in the next one.